Today we're going to look at validation of a single-step GC-MS method to determine the presence of 41 therapeutic drugs and drugs of abuse in postmortem blood. That is, in the blood of someone who has passed away. Purpose for validation of a method or instrument is that it must be performed prior to that new method or instrument going into use for dependable results in the lab. If it's not validated, you don't know if you have precision and reliability. You don't know if your results are precise as a calibration comparison would be, and you don't know if your results are reliable, which would be repeatable time after time. The goal of validation, as I said, is precision, being precise, which requires running multiple samples of the same amount, spiked with the same amount of drug. Reliability, it does the same thing, you get the same result, no matter who does the results. The control by analysts is the process of different analysts in different laboratories running your samples through the method that you've come up with. Results obtained during validation. To ensure correct results requires the use of proper tools. That would mean your analytical procedures and measuring equipment must have been validated prior to use. If they're not validated prior to your use in validating your new method or instrument, then you have a situation where neither the measuring tools that you're using, analytical procedures, or your new validated procedure are actually validated. The tools must be properly validated and calibrated to obtain reliable results. You want to obtain results that you can rely on time after time after time. And if your tools are not validated, you are not assured that that is what will happen. The most important steps in validation: you document, document, document. You document so anyone can go back and look at your procedure and determine if anything else needs to be added or taken away. In our case, the procedure has done everything that it is required of validation, and the only way you can determine that is because everything is documented. Document, document, document. He used in validating his method, the instrument he used was a GC-MS gas chromatography mass spectrometry that, of course, had been validated previously before coming into use. The GC-MS separates and identifies compounds like it's a molecular detective. It's sorting through what molecules are there, and as a different molecule comes down the pipe, it measures that one, how many of them there are, and that's where you get your spikes and peaks on your graph. It's great in forensics labs because it can measure drugs in blood, breath, or tissues with a great deal of accuracy, from often down to the nanogram level. And that is important in a forensics lab when you are going to be having your test used in court. You want it to be have as low of a documentation level as possible. And the GC-MS gas chromatography mass spectrometry does that for you. The old method required 5 to 6 hours. Previously, 4 separate steps were required prior to injection into the GC-MS machine instrument. Solid phase extraction, evaporation, reconstitution, and derivation. All of these took 5 to 6 hours to complete one batch of the samples that you were running. Now with the new process, you went from these 4 headaches to one smooth sprint. Orfandis' work with his team on a one-step process reduced the numbers of steps prior to injection into the MS machine. Orfandis' work reduced the time from 5 to 6 hours per batch to 21 minutes per batch. That's freeing up an analyst's whole afternoon to do more samples of the same thing. If you have a backlog of samples, they can get caught up on them. Having a few afternoons of more time will let you do more analysis of samples. Orfandis' method was to initially heat your sample to 120 degrees Celsius for 1 minute, then increase it to 300 degrees Celsius with a rate of 15 degrees Celsius per minute, followed by a vac flush program at 300 degrees Celsius for 10 minutes. A full scan method was selected to pick up on any molecules as they go through the column. Orfandis' validation technique was appropriate. All the solvents used were of HPLC grade. The blood was obtained 14 to 20 hours post-mortem. He tested 7 different commonly used solvents to find the one that would not interfere with the peaks of the blood in the drugs in the blood coming through the column. He discovered that butyl acetate was the best solvent for not interfering with any of the subject peaks. Intralaboratory testing showed comparable results. So they went to different labs, had the same testing performed, and it got the same results with the same samples. Here's what the results look like for 41 drugs. Of course, it'd be highly unlikely that any one person would have all 41. So your actual results would not be as cluttered as this is. But you can tell that if you expand your graph and magnify it, you can see each of the 41 peaks that are a different drug. Orfandis' validation demonstrated selectivity. Selectivity means that it is picking up on the same things every time. It's picking up on the same drugs at the same time, every time. There's no carryover. There is nothing that sticks in the machine after it is done to carry over into the next sample. You have linearity. The results when you use spike samples or calibration samples each at different levels increase and they form a line. That is important. Accuracy and precision. You need to be accurate with results so that the court can rely on the results that you've gotten. And they need to be precise. You can't guess at what they are or be close to what they are, but you need to be precise at what they are. It demonstrates that nothing was missed in his validation process. The benefits of this new method is a vast reduction in analyst time from 5 to 6 hours per batch to 21 minutes per batch. That frees up the whole afternoon of an analyst, as we discussed earlier. That's very important. You can measure for 41 drugs at the same time. You don't need a different immunoassay kit to measure each drug type. It allows for reduction in backlog of samples because you have this whole afternoon freed up to do more batches of samples and get more results and take care of your backlog. Thank you for your attention.